Have you ever asked yourself how you can earn money with your podcast? Then you're not alone, because this is actually the number one question I get asked all the time. So let's dive into it and find out how, and more importantly, when you can start monetizing your channel. The fastest way to earn money with your podcast are sponsorships and ads. And you might think now that probably only the bigger shows get sponsors, but even smaller shows can attract sponsorship. And I'm going to tell you how. The key to sponsorships is to find a niche and find an audience that is really interesting for a specific brand. There are many brands out there that try to invest into communities, and this is the chance to connect your audience and your niche to the specific brand. I monetized my own podcast after only 2 months because I was working in WeWork and I was also recording my podcast there. And while I was recording the podcast, there were many founders, freelancers, and creatives coming, of course, to the space to record. And they were all quite happy by the building, by the service, by everything else. And many of them joined WeWork. So I approached WeWork and asked them, hey, WeWork, can we maybe find an agreement together? Because there's so many people coming in through me because they come here and record the podcast and they're so blown away by everything that they see here. Can we maybe find an agreement? And the local WeWork offered me a free membership in exchange for mentioning them in the show. So this was a great way in the beginning, the first 2 months already, to monetize basically my membership. So I didn't have any costs anymore for paying the membership. And of course, this is not millions and it's not thousands of euros that come in every month, but every little thing helps, especially when you start out with your podcast. It's really important to get some cash flow in, and this will free up some budget, for example, for like a better gear, a better microphone, or maybe some editing hours for like a superb editor. Remember that you have a unique voice and that your audience can be very valuable for a brand, for example. So don't shy away to reach out to brands very early, because you never know, maybe you have a niche audience that is very hard to reach for brands and they would be delighted to sponsor your show. Keep in mind that a sponsorship can come in many different ways. It doesn't always need to be a direct money transfer, but it can also be, for example, technical equipment. It could be a discount on a membership of like an editing software. So there are so many ways that you can basically connect your audience with a brand and they can either give you a discount or pay you a monthly fee for mentioning them in your podcast. Next up is, of course, affiliate marketing. I think many of you have heard of affiliate marketing. It's basically promoting products or services through a link, and for every sale that is made through a link, you earn a commission. It's a fantastic way to earn passive income. For example, if you're a tech podcast and you recommend gear, you can include the affiliate link in your show notes. And for every person that clicks on a link and buys a product, you can basically earn money. The most important thing to consider with affiliate marketing is that you only promote products that you really, really believe in, because your audience knows when you're faking it. I myself got many offers from a mixer company or shaver company or some supplements that I don't generally believe in. And it's also not a good match for my target group that are young entrepreneurs, creatives, and company owners. So I would never promote those products. So please keep that in mind when you choose your affiliate products. Another great way of earning money with your podcast is hosting events. That could be virtual events, but also in-person events. And you can think of workshops, webinars, or maybe roundtable discussion within your podcast niche. And you can earn money by ticket sales, but also by involving sponsors into the event. And especially the second part of finding sponsors for an event is relatively easy. There are a lot of companies, especially in your podcast niche, that are interested, for example, in hosting a workshop or hosting a webinar. But most of the time, they don't have the internal capacity, they don't have a moderator, and they don't have a lot of parameters to organize it themselves. So for them to plug and play and have maybe like one person joining the event from their side is a really big plus for them. So don't shy away to reach out to companies within your podcast niche, because they might be way more interested in your event than you might think. And it's also a great way to engage with your audience, because if it's an in-person event, you can invite people from your audience, and that also helps you to strengthen the relationship with your audience. And at the same time, you have a paid event and a brand connected to your podcast, which helps you, of course, with the credibility and the growth of your long-term project. Creating and launching your own community is another fantastic way to monetize your channel. And probably you've seen this already with other creators that build big communities. Most of the time, they have a free community where they just collect all the like-minded people of the specific topic. And then they have a monthly paid plan in place where they monetize their community. And this monthly fee is then exchanged in one-on-one coaching or adding value, or for example, selling a course. So there are many ways how you can basically bring back value to your community and monetize it in that way. In the past, it was relatively difficult to launch your own community. You needed a website, you needed a gated community, you needed a payment process, you needed so many flows. So it took you a lot of like work and also like development hour maybe. But this is luckily a thing of the past. There are many great tools and platforms out there, for example, Patreon, Skool, or Kajabi, that you can basically use to launch and monetize your community. So it's a great way to basically get started and everyone is talking about the power of community, the power of your audience. So start building your community early, invite them to an extra channel, invite them to a gated platform where the like-minded people can meet, because on a podcast platform, on Spotify or Apple Podcast, or also on Instagram or the socials, it's very difficult to connect with people. People like those gated communities. They're quite used to it. So open like a Kajabi, open a Skool community, get people in there for free. And the moment you feel ready, you can start to monetize it, for example, one-on-one calls, or for example, with a course. And this is a great way how you can funnel down your audience to a free community, and the free community to a paid community. And this consistent income, that monthly income, will really set you up for growth, will really help you basically to accelerate your podcast project, because then you can outsource certain part, you can outsource the editing, you can create better clips, you can buy better gear, you can buy more light, you can buy more special effects, you can rent bigger studios, you can build your own studio. So there are a lot of opportunities opening up the moment you have consistent income and the moment you monetize your podcast channel. I think every person that ever launched a channel on YouTube has dreamed of monetizing their channel on YouTube. And the monetization on YouTube is done with Google AdSense. And I'm going to tell you today about that. It is a valid option, but it is quite difficult to reach. Before you're able to monetize your channel on YouTube, you need to have 1,000 subscribers or 4,000 watch hours in the past 12 months. And once you meet those requirements, you can enable ads on your videos. But keep in mind that the Google AdSense program is not paying as much as you think. For example, for 1,000 daily views, you get around $50 to $100 a month. So this is really not a lot of money for the effort you have to put in to grow on YouTube. So don't focus too much on Google AdSense. It's a nice to have if you have a lot of views anyways, but it should not be the focus of your monetization strategy. If I would start over today, I would really focus on finding brands that are really close to my podcast topic and to my podcast niche, because there are a lot of brands out there that want to get connected to the target group and to the audience, that want to have a closer relationship with their audience, because some niches and some target groups are really difficult to reach, especially with newer generations coming in. Everyone is talking about how difficult it is to target Gen Z, but everyone is also talking about the power of community. So really lean in on this, really leverage your knowledge on community building and your engaged audience, and try to set something up with companies. That could be sponsorships, events, co-hosted podcasts, webinars, or anything else that you can think of where you can basically start to monetize your podcast early. And really remember, it's not about the size of your audience, but it's about how engaged they are and in what niche they are in. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments which monetization strategy you're going to try next. Thanks for watching and happy podcasting.